Newsshooter coverage of IBC 2023 is sponsored by Atlas Lens Co., Atomos, Sennheiser, and B&H.
Hi, it's Matt here for Newsshooter.com at IBC 2023. I'm at the ARRI booth with Benjamin Diaz. Now, this is the new SkyPanel X. Pretty revolutionary light in a lot of ways. Just run us through it.
Well, what we wanted with the SkyPanel X is to do at the same time a native soft light and a native hard light that could be scalable, right? So you can have any kind of modular. But the most important thing for us is that we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted that the workflows that are already existing in the market are respected. That's why when you look at the X23, you see the similar size, similar weight as a Dino or a 9-light Fay. So you know how to work with it. You know the two people can hold it. And because you can dismantle it, one people can mount it in and out. But also we want it to be a sky panel, right? And everyone knows the sky panel as a soft light, so we wanted to be best colors as any other ARRI fixture, great, very good low-end dimming, having integrated power supply, IP rating, all that stuff. We wanted to check all the boxes of all these users that have been saying, I want the SkyPanel S60 to be this. But on top of that, we wanted to bring the beam, and I think that's kind of the shocking thing for everyone to see out of a rectangular shape, a perfect rounded beam that can develop in the distance due to the optimization for luxes.
How long were these lights in development for?
Well, I started in ARRI around February last year, and since then I've been working with it. This is a very interesting thing because we have been from the very beginning walking this journey with the users. That was the idea from the very beginning. I wanted to solve real problems and not trying to innovate with no purpose, right? Just engineering stuff that the people don't want. We wanted to talk to them, what is exactly that you need out of us? And therefore we start with the blue sky sessions, then we get to alpha, software, and beta tests. When we have the first prototype, we do, again, one alpha, beta test all around the world, and then we iterate back to R&D, back to a beta test, then a field test, and finally all the recap for the video that you just showed. This is how Ube is showing on the real field how to work with it and so on.
And how much of a design challenge was it to come up with an attachment that can actually turn, as you said, like a rectangular beam into a round one?
Yeah, this was the most difficult thing. We make a big deep dive on all the optical technologies, and what we realize is that, to be honest, go for the COB format that we have on the Orbiter is interesting, but has a lot of disadvantages because you can never combine this with the optic that you want. You cannot just have this size of Fresnel and this size of Cope. That's not how LED works. But when the LED becomes really, really, really efficient, is that if you can use multi-diode, then you can really go the extra mile. So we were working on these optics, that how can we make to collimate all these different lenses into one single beam? Where is the focal point, the ideal focal point for that? How many lenses do we need to use inside? What is the type of cross that we need? And playing with the square law to get to that result. But for me, the most shocking moment was not even that, because we get to have this type of attachment. The shocking moment is to see later on that if you mix many of them, you still have the same beam. You're just having more output. But the beam is the same, the angle is the same, the feeling is the throw, the punch, and that opens a lot of possibilities. And then if you combine it with soft, hard, depending on what you need, yeah, that's a new world.
Is there going to be a way down the track or in the future of being able to come up with attachments that have a variable beam angle or different beam angles?
This is a very good question. We were looking into it, and maybe that the big problem of this is that if you want to have a perfect beam, perfect shadow, perfect edges, it's very difficult to make it with a variable zoom angle. You can do it, but then we start talking about other problems, right? Like, what about the weight? Is it too heavy? Is it too big? Will the crews see this as an interesting fixture or not? And that's why I said at the beginning, it was very important for us to meet the workflows of today. You can innovate, but if you're taking from the users their craft, they know how to play with certain sizes, certain weights, certain distances. If you take this from them, you are taking what it makes them great. So that's why we wanted, okay, it's okay to play with the motorization. You see it up in the rig that we have this prototype, this motorized yoke for the SkyPanel X. We are looking into all these things. Obviously, we have clay packing, so there must be synergies. But per the moment, I think we are good with what we have.
Is there any plans going forward to make an SC30 version of this, like a smaller size?
Another great question. Well, should we? This is the question that we have for everyone. What many people tell us is that, well, the big advantage of this product is the output and the punch. So to scale it up is quite easy. Now we have all these brackets and the X22 and the X23 and all these possibilities keeping the same beam. So we didn't get a lot of requests from the users during the process of scaling it even more and getting higher, even when many users said, okay, for me this is the new HMI, which was shocking at the beginning to hear because it's a panel, right? But a lot of people was telling us, well, for me this is a 4K, the X23. So we could go up, but the big question is, should we go down? And we could, but will the market look more into compact fixtures? Are they looking more into flexible fixtures for this matter and get into very close distances? Or are they aiming to have big punch? So we didn't take this decision, but this is a very good question we asked to all the guys out there. Should we do it? Why not? Technically it's possible.
And I imagine going forward too, that when the original SkyPanel series had countless firmware updates, I'm sure there's a lots on the horizon for this going forward?
Yes, the thing about the SkyPanel X is that we are using the same model technology of LIOS that we used before, and this is a great advantage for software because we have a lot of calculation and processing capabilities. So we're actually having a big package of things coming for 2024 software-wise. There's a lot of stuff already there with the multi-unit array and so on, but we have a lot of things prepared on top of it, and this is one of the great things that because we are so powerful, we are future-proof, but especially because we can tweak still a lot of things. We have a lot of details to come with the software because there's no limitations in the software. In the S60, as you know, there are some limitations already, right? It was a product made some time ago and we kind of reached the limits of the technology for that product, which is great. Everyone loves it as it is and it's a standard, but with the SkyPanel X for sure, we have many things to show in the future.
I think one of the most interesting things about this slide is its ability to work with, like, you know, the Alexa 35
Yes.
and previous Alexa cameras. How does that work?
Well, for me, this is really, really important. And I don't know if we are, because the users like the product very much, hardware-wise and so on, we are not talking enough about it. But it is the first time that we are speaking exactly the same language in terms of color between one camera and one light. This is exactly the same language. So we have the same engineers, engineering the light, engineering the camera, talking to each other and seeing how do we reproduce the colors in the best possible way on any Alexa or a mirror camera. And this is also the shocking thing, because at the beginning we were thinking, okay, let's work with the LF3 sensor first, or let's talk about the LF4, how we optimize each other. But we find out as we get to a formula that optimizes both LF3 and LF4 and mirror and Alexa, all the models with the best colors possible. So what it means is that at the end, only if you're using ARRI cameras, you should use these modes, because obviously if you use these modes with other cameras, different color sensors, they are not matched. This is like a calibration at the end, so it will not give you the best colors. Then you should just use Plaza, RGB, Y calibrator, or XY, or HSI, whatever you use, and keep using CRI, TLCI, TM3015, all these ways of measuring light. This is no problem, and it's a good indicator for all the cinematographers and gaffers out there on how good the colors are.
I was going to ask you, I mean, based on that, is there any plans going forward of being able to work with other camera companies to integrate those modes in there to work with the SkyPanel?
If there is interest about it, and if the camera manufacturers open up for us to play with this feature, why not? We have the knowledge to do so. It's easy. We are manufacturers of cameras. We have been working with sensors for a long time, and we can offer this as a service to any manufacturer. We open up here. We are not, we are in this new stage of ARRI, which is I would be very proud to be part of. We are the most open company to the world as possible, the most transparent company. That's why we have been involved with users, with many rental owners from the very beginning. We don't want to do products that are just engineered for people in Bavaria or in Germany. We want to be part of this community as much as we can. And therefore, yes, if the manufacturers want to go that path with us, why not? No problem.
And finally, is there any indication of pricing yet, how much this is going to be?
Yeah, well, this depends on each market. What I can tell you for sure is we are starting production in October. So this is everything that you can see here. All the accessories that are announced are real things. We have all the production lines set, we have all the components, we have everything in place. Actually, the only difference between these products that you are seeing here on the show and the real products is just that we are aiming with the last part of the certifications, but they are coming from the production line. So we are start production in middle October. But another thing is who gets it, how. I guess we should try to demonstrate as much as possible in open rental houses before start selling it, because other people in some certain parts of the world will not be able to see it otherwise. In terms of pricing, what we are doing here is the possibility of doing an a la carte selection of any item, or 4 packages. The 4 packages are, the first one is the Softlight X21 package. This is a 2x1 panel, the most similar format like the S60. And here, in terms of pricing, I cannot give you details, but for sure my sales guys will tell you about it. We have a hard and soft X21, hard and soft X22, and hard and soft X23 as a package, like in the S60s.
Is it going to be similar price to the previous SkyPanels, or more expensive?
Yes, this is what I can tell you. So for the Softlight X21, you should expect very similar, actually a little bit lower list prices than what you had before with the S60C. In the X21 hard and soft, you are barely in exactly the same ball game in terms of pricing as the previous S60. So we are actually selling more or less at the same price. Everything that you got with the S60 improved, and then on top of that, a beautiful rounded beam for long throws. So in terms of pricing, we also wanted to be more affordable, because we wanted the students, we wanted the independent filmmakers to have access to these products. Traditionally, ARRI was always a high-end company, a premium company. We still want to be that, because that means quality, that means long return on investment and lower total cost of ownership. But we want to be closer to the new way of doing filmmaking. These guys that are sometimes a DP, sometimes a gaffer, sometimes are playing with the console, they're doing all these things, a little bit of TV, a little bit of stage lighting. That's why we bought Claypack. That's why we have solutions teams in. We want to be part of this new way of understanding filmmaking.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.